This kick can decide it all. The nation holds its breath. Yes, we're there!
Hi and welcome back to the podcast. Today we're going back in time and we're talking about a retired forward called Dominic Foley, who thought outside the box during his playing career and the norm, and went beyond just Ireland and the UK route that the majority of people went to back then. It would have been fairly unusual paths he travelled. Not uncommon but unusual, and he was born in Cork. He started his career off at Charleville in Cork. Then he moved to Dublin for Dublin side St James Gate for the 94-95 season at the age of 18. St James Gate, obviously St James Gate is connected to Guinness's, and I believe they were the factory team of Guinness originally. But anyway, he moved there. When he moved there, they were actually a League of Ireland team as well. They were in the first division, which is the second division in Ireland for anyone outside of Ireland. At 18, a great first step into the programme. Just another matter of interest, Katie Taylor used to play for St James Gate 2 before. She was a boxer as well, and a runner, I think, but before she became a superstar boxer. She played football at a high level too. So he stayed at St James Gate for just 1 year. When he was 19, in 1995, he signed for Wolves in England, Wolverhampton Wanderers, who were then in the first division, now called the Championship, which again is the second division in England. Though he was never really a regular in the team, he stayed for 4 years, between 95 and 99, turning out a respectable 29 times and scoring 3 goals. In 1998, he went on 3 loans, first to Watford, then Notts County, and then an interesting one from maybe that started his wandering ambitions. He went on loan to Greece for Greek top division side Ethnikos Piraeus. They were managed by Howard Kendall at the time. There he had probably his most prolific, though very short, period. He only went on a month's loan, but he played 7 times and he scored 3 goals. Pretty good return, pretty much 1 and 2 goals per game, but still must have opened his eyes to the bigger possibilities available outside of just Ireland and the UK. He then returned to sign for Watford, who were in the Premiership at the time. It was a free transfer in 1999, again on another 4-year deal, as a 23-year-old who he'd been on loan with them. They were one of the loan teams. So they were managed at the time by Graham Taylor, rest in peace. He had signed them for Wolves, and they unfortunately got relegated at the end of the season, his first season with them, and they stayed for the remainder of his next 3 years. He was with them. They were in the first division Championship now known as. Taylor got sacked. So Taylor obviously was a bit of a legendary manager. He'd spells at Wolves, Watford, Aston Villa. He was also the England manager. When he got sacked, he was replaced by another legend, Vialli, an assistant. Vialli's assistant was also another legend, Ray Wilkins. It's a bit weird. They've also passed away. But in all, he played 33 times for Watford, 12 of which were in his first season at the very top level of football, the Premiership. He scored 5 goals in total during his time at Watford, which again it's not stellar, but it's very respectable as well. Like, he played in one of the top leagues in the world, barring possibly Italy and Spain at the time, and maybe Germany. So one of the top 4 leagues in the world at the time, and he played at the very highest level. While playing for Watford, that was really the catalyst that got him into the Irish senior setup in his season. He was in the Premiership with them, but we'll get to that. While with Watford, he went on 5 loan deals the last 2 years: Queen's Park Rangers twice, Swindon, Southend United and Oxford United. At the expiry of his contract with Watford on the 1st of July 2003, the 26-year-old again made another, at the time, unorthodox move, and also exciting move, to Portugal with top division side Braga, with the help of former Irish international Mickey Walsh, who had played for Porto in the past. He signed a 2-year contract with Braga, so they obviously thought a lot of him, but he only stayed for 1 season, having not really settled in. He obviously probably wasn't impressed by game time and management and at the club, so he approached the club after a year and got out of the contract that he had a year left. But in total, his turnout in Braga was, he played 12 times, 1 goal. Again, not terrible. But yeah, he wasn't happy there by all accounts. So on the 1st of July 2004 then, he moved back to Ireland and signed for Bohemians, aka Super Bows. Yeah, I'm originally from that area, so I have a lot of time for Bows. But he signed for them as a 27-year-old. He signed mid-season, as the League of Ireland had just the previous year changed the season to run as the Summer League, and it's been like that ever since, of course. So they were playing all their fixtures in the 1 calendar year, and that the reason really was to help, at the time anyway, to help improve, to do better in European club competitions, like to maybe get the group stages and all, which has happened on occasion. Wouldn't say it was for that reason it wasn't necessarily a raging success, but yeah, it's definitely a good, like, it got a good following now, especially after COVID. Games are sold out and season tickets are sold out, and playing through the summer, people get their fix of football through the summer. So yeah, really, I think it's a good idea anyway. But anyway, he signed for Bows. It was actually the current Irish manager, Stephen Kenny, who was managing Bows at the time and signed him. But a few days after signing him, Kenny got the sack. I think there was a poor result in Europe. And Foley hadn't even trained at that stage with the team, so he never actually got to play under Kenny or even train under Kenny. And Stephen Kenny was replaced by Gareth Farley as Bowes manager, which I think Gareth Farley was only 28 or 29 at the time. It was a very unusual move. But anyway, Farley and Foley knew each other well. They played together and roomed together internationally for the Irish under-21s, and they were in a couple of Irish senior squads back in 2000. Just a couple of times they were in the squad together. So again, it was from a manager point of view, the manager knew all about him, so that would have helped him, and would have helped the manager too, Farley. But Foley, he had a great season, arguably, probably, definitely his best up until that point in time. He played 30 times, scored 7 goals. The following June 2005, Bows were playing in Europe against Gent in the Intertoto Cup, and again Foley played. He was there a year at that stage, and he played very well by all accounts. And Gent actually were so impressed that they came in from. So Gent of Belgium, the Belgium top division. So on the 1st of July 2005, he actually signed for Gent on the back of that tie, those two games. There was a bit of controversy at the time about the move, because he moved on a free. He basically, there was some non-payment of bonuses, and as a result he got the contract, he got out of his contract basically, because Bows hadn't paid some bonuses. Don't think Bows were too happy at the time, but I mean, no offence to Bows, they're the club, they're supposed to have the house in order. I love Bows, by the way, but like, you can't blame the player for taking the better option, and really turned out to be a great option for him. But you know, if a better option comes along and he can get out of his contract legally, that's not his fault, that's the club's fault for not having a better watertight contract. So yeah, you can't blame him for doing that. No offence to Bows, but going to Belgium, or the League of Ireland, going to Belgium, and the Belgium league, he would have been getting paid more. He would have been getting paid for the summers as well, which didn't always happen in the League of Ireland. And yeah, so anyway, he moves to Gent in the top division in Belgium as a now 28 going on 29-year-old. Belgium was by far his most successful run and time of his career, it was really at the highest level, at a top European league. Obviously it wouldn't have been the same level as the Premiership or Spain or Italy or Germany. Arguably not, a lot of the top teams in the Belgium top division would have played in, like, the French league, could have played at that level. I mean, so I wouldn't necessarily put it ahead of the French league. So, it's like after the top 4 leagues, maybe it's right up there. So anyway, he played for Gent from 2005 until 2009, playing a total of 103 times, 29 goals. He was named captain at the start of the 07-08 season. Then as a 32-year-old, he was sold to Cercle Brugge on the 1st of January 2009. His contract had 6 months left, and he felt it wasn't going to get renewed under the current manager. He'd agreed a deal. They were going to take him for free in the summer, but then Gent just said, listen, you can go now and get a nominal. I don't know how much the fee was. It was undisclosed, I believe, but so they got a bit of a transfer fee, let him go there and then, which was better for him as a player, because he didn't basically sit on the bench for 6 months at Gent and then be a bit rusty. He went still as a active live. Like, if he had waited, he'd have gone, the whole summer as well, not playing football the rest of that season, not playing football the whole summer. Might have hampered his career. So it was better that he went in January. Worked out better for all parties. He played 3 seasons for Cercle Brugge. He turned out 70 times, scoring 19 goals until 2012. So basically he spent 7 years in total in Belgium with two Belgian big teams. He played in a very talented pool in Belgian club football as well. They were investing a lot of time and effort and facilities and resources into the Belgium league and the youth players in Belgium, developing them. So he played at that time. He played against players like Company, Courtois, De Bruyne, Lukaku, to name but a few. So at the time, it wasn't like he was going into an older league. He was going into a really vibrant, exciting league with a lot of talent, and probably the best that Belgian league had been up to that point. So to do well in the Belgian league was impressive, but to do it at such a a time when there was such an amount of talent in that league, it even is more impressive. So yeah, shows how good of a player he was. He could have stayed in Belgium after his contract with Bruges ended, in some shape or form, but he wanted to return to Ireland, put down roots here with his young family, and he therefore returned to Limerick, which was just a half an hour away from his home, and he signed on a 1.5 year deal with Limerick for the 2012 season. He played for them in the Irish First Division, which is again the second division, turned out 17 times in his final season. He scored 3 goals. Again, he was I believe 36 at the time, so that's a good return for a 36-year-old, and the experience he would have given to, you know, the First Division League of Ireland team. Like, they really got a gem there. They probably couldn't have bought a player of that caliber and experience. The fact he approached them, I think it was more because they were right just beside where he had returned home, is Charleville. So yeah, what a way to go out in his final season as well. He actually helped them get promoted to the Irish Premier Division, so that was another high point of his big illustrious career at that stage. Also another testament to his character. He got injured and he had 6 months left on his contract, so he could have just sat there on his contract, got paid for another 6 months before he retired, but he actually went to the club and said, listen, you know, I'm probably not going to play again, you're just going to be paying me, losing money, so I'm willing to walk away here. And it was a very nice gesture, very honest of him, and again another testament to his character. Internationally, he represented Ireland at youth and senior level. All his senior caps came in 2000, while playing in the Premiership, as I said before, for Watford. He probably should have warranted more senior caps as a result. He got injured in his last international game against Finland, and has sidelined them for 6 months, and he never made it back into the squad thereafter. You know, when he went back to Belgium, again, the high caliber of talent in that and how well he was doing there, again, probably should have warranted a call up at that stage, but there was no real internet like it is now, YouTube, and you know, people being aware of that. So if you're in somewhere like Belgium, you weren't really getting heard of or seen, so you would have been just like all the people from the FAI would have been watching people in the UK, Scotland, maybe if it was a big talent in a big league like Italy or Germany or Spain, but Belgium, then you know they're probably not going to send over a scout or representative to Belgium to regularly check on an Irish player playing there. So yeah, you could really say he was unfortunate not to get picked again. Both after he got injured, he had a good return in 2000. He'd played 6 times and scored twice, so 1 in 3 goal scoring record. Probably warranted to get called back in after his 6 months of injury, but didn't at that time. And then again, when he went to Belgium, such a good career he had over there in 7 years. Again, he probably should have wanted a call up then too, but never did. It didn't happen. In all, his career may have gone under the radar at times because, again, Belgium was like Outer Mongolia at the time, but he definitely made the most of it, and he played at a very high level throughout, but especially when he went to Belgium. And when he came back to Ireland, that's when, like, again, Super Bowls, they helped him give his career a second shot, really, in the arm. He mixed with top players, he mixed with top managers, and he played basically all levels in England and Ireland. He played in the top division in England, which again was probably in one of the top 3 leagues in the world. He played in 5 different countries top leagues. He played in the top league in Ireland, England, Greece, Portugal and Belgium. Also played European football at club level, international football at senior level. So a very, very impressive CV and a very impressive career by anyone's standards, doesn't matter who you are. He's now back in Cork after his long career at, I believe he's 47 these days. He works in sales and does a bit of coaching at local level in Charleville, I believe again. But he hasn't ruled out someday returning to coaching professionally. He has all his UEFA badges. Again, he's well known in Belgium. That could be in the League of Ireland as well, of course, but he's well known in Belgium. So Belgian football again is at another bit of a renaissance, and that also might be an avenue if he ever decides to go back into coaching at a pro level, I should say. All in all, he's had a great career, and he's a great example for current Irish players who are testing their wings further afield than just the UK and Ireland. And if you don't make it in the UK, that's not the end. There's other avenues available. So his career is a perfect example for people to look at if they think they don't do well in the UK or they don't make it in the UK, as so to speak. They can just look at his career and say, well, that isn't actually the end of my career. But it's not as uncommon now, but it's back then when he did it, he was definitely a trailblazer. So it's been an interesting, exciting journey he took Irish football fans on, and we were watching